Hello, folks, and welcome back to Chris Wyatt. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. No, it's not true. It's not. We've been assured by the Minister of Basic Education in South Africa that the stories about South Africa's 30% pass requirement for the matrix is not true. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshehga went out and told the press that all that needs to be said is that 30% is not a passing mark in this country. If a candidate gets an aggregate of 30% in all their subjects written, the candidate will surely fail. Well, I would hope so. There are myths which are being repeated year after year, almost by the same people on this matter, and it's unfortunate and disappointing is what Angie Motshegga had to say. But here's the reality, folks. Here is the actual reality. This is actually true. It's not made up. Motshekga may try to deny it, but the reality is that it is the case. It is the case. In fact, we can look at it in this article right here and this little graph that I've made up of what's going on here. So she said there are 3 NSC pass requirements. They can be summarized as follows. As follows. Unbelievable, folks. This is truly unbelievable. 3 things. And she's trying to tell us that this simply isn't the case, that it isn't a 30% pass rate. Okay. So admission to the bachelor studies, in other words, to go to university, you must, now this is complicated, stick with me. You must obtain 40% for the candidate's home language. So if you speak Xhosa or you speak Venda, you speak Tswana, English, Afrikaans, you've got to get 40% in your language. Then you got to get 50% in 4 of the other subjects. Okay. But then you must obtain 30% for the language of learning and teaching at the higher education. So if you're going to school and they teach in English, you've got to get 30% in that, if that's not your first language. And you can get 30% in another language. So for instance, say math. So of the 7 subjects, you could get 32% in math and pass and go to university, 30% in English, pass and go to university, and 40% in, say, Xhosa, if that's your first language. That gets you in university. How in the world is that not a 30% pass mark rate? She's not a very bright individual. She is making the argument that the aggregate score isn't 30%. No one ever claimed it was. I've always said that 2 subjects you can get 30% in and go to university. And the admission for diploma studies, the same thing. And the higher certificate's even worse. Just to graduate high school, you get to have 4 subjects in which you have 30% of the 7. How in the world can you consider somebody to be a high school graduate who in 4 of the 7 exit examination test gets 30% or better? That's insane. That's not an education. That's a scam. And it's a scam being perpetrated on the people of South Africa and anyone else that takes a student from South Africa for studies abroad. And by the way, Mmusi Maimane is drawing attention to this by saying it should be raised to 50%. 50%, Mmusi? Your soft bigotry, your soft racism of low expectations is disappointing. 50% is not a passing mark in anything in life. Unless you're gambling, half the time you win, half the time you lose. That's pretty good. Baseball, 50% would be an amazing batting average. But in life, 50% is not a passing mark. 70% is a minimum passing mark. 50%, that demonstrates virtually no proficiency in a subject. 30% is clearly no proficiency. It's just luck and guessing at best. Wow. Well, Angie has told us that it's not true. It's not true, folks. It's not true. This is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. She could actually say this with a straight face. This is how stupid members of the African National Congress ruling party are in South Africa. No wonder they can't make the distinction about racism. Because they don't see it. They're not bright enough to realize that when they pass laws that discriminate based on skin pigmentation, it's not racist to them. Because it advantages people of color. So it can't be racist. Huh? Well, no wonder when you have people graduating from high school and going on to university who get 32% in math and 30% in 30% English and then 40% in their home language and go on to university. This is shocking. Shocking. Bantu education is worse than no education at all, is what Cyril Ramaphosa had to say in 2021, and he's correct. ANC's Bantu education is worse than no education at all. It's time to stop the nonsense and start educating South Africans, black, white, brown, and otherwise, with proper education, not this Bantu education of the ANC.